Hello, and welcome to 30 Minutes. I'm Patty Stalker. On today's show, we're going to meet Amy Egeland. Amy is embroiled in a controversy in Fitchburg regarding the euthanization of a pit bull while she was the manager of the town's animal shelter. As blame gets tossed around like a hot potato, it is Amy who ended up losing her job, and it is the dogs that are going to suffer. As we have in the past, we are trying to shed light on the issue of animal rights, and the closing of an animal shelter anywhere is closing the home of animals in need. I sit down with Amy at her home, what was the prior site of the Fitchburg Animal Shelter, and where she gave tirelessly of her time to some of the most difficult and unwanted dogs. We're going to hear her story. It should be a good show, so stick around. It's 30 Minutes.
Live in Fitchburg to explain. Jess?
And Doc, this woman says her dog was put to sleep within just 48 hours of when it got out of her house. Now, it's been almost a week now since her dog was put down, and tonight she is still searching for answers as to why this happened.
We incorporate a no-kill philosophy as much as possible. I mean, there are those that are really sick that we have to, help.
So how did this dog fall through the cracks? How did a woman who dedicates her life to taking care of stray dogs, a woman who has raised funds for and raised awareness of the plight of the bully breed, end up in this controversy? Patty Stalker here at the site of the former Fitchburg Animal Shelter, and I'm here with the former manager of that shelter, Amy Egeland. So, Amy, no shelter dogs here today.
Nope, just my personal dogs.
Yep, I hear them, but I see very little activity.
No volunteers.
No volunteers, no kennels filled with dogs.
No kennels with dogs, no cats.
I was editing the fundraising piece that I did that was held at the Slap Shop Pub last month, where they were raising money for this shelter. So how do you guys raise money then for the shelter?
Primarily word of mouth, Facebook, occasionally in the newspaper. The city only gives a very small budget to run the shelter. Everything else for food, bedding, toys, collars, leashes, photography, anything outside of just housing the dogs and medical.
About how much does it cost to sustain it every year?
Right around the $35,000 is what it, costs, what we have to raise.
And how many animals are housed there at a particular time?
Maximum capacity is about 32. We like to keep the number under 20 so that we can give the dogs the proper attention that they need.
Is it just a dog shelter?
No, we have cats. We take care of the city swans for the city park in the winter. We've done hamsters, gerbils, rabbits, whatever comes through, we get it a home as best we can. The biggest struggle absolutely is money. And second is I'd love to adopt that dog, but my insurance company won't allow a pit bull. A wonderful, loving dog will have to sit because it's perceived as a pit bull. And that's what today is about, showing awareness that they're just dogs. It's just a dog. You raise it properly, and then you manage it, and you keep it structured. Yeah, you exercise it and give it good food and a good structure. They're sensitive, they're loyal. It's the most decorated war dog. People just need to know that they don't have locking jaws, that they are not a registered AKC breed that you're going to see at the Westminster, Kennel Club, because there is no real breed as a pit bull. I'm the only paid staff. I'm 19 hours per week. The rest of my week is donated.
Wow.
So the rest of it I volunteer. And everybody,
Quite a lady.
Everybody's volunteer. Yeah. So that's it. That's it. And then all the volunteers you see here today, they come every day, walk, play, take them swimming, take them to McDonald's, take them for rides, take them on hikes, take them overnight, whatever we have to do,
It looks like a great turnout today, and I hope that you can raise the money and the awareness that you need. Thanks a lot, Amy. Thanks for all you do.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks.
Before I had a chance to finish editing the fundraising piece, my colleague George told me that Amy had been terminated unexpectedly, and the shelter was closed down. And the Fitchburg Police Department was taking control of the Animal Control Department now. I sat down with Amy to talk about it at her home. So what happened?
Well, in the letter that I received from Bernie Stevens from Human Resources, they opted to outsource the sheltering of the animals, outsource the care based on what they called liability is the reasoning behind closing the shelter.
I read something, there was a claim made against the town?
There are a few claims. Yep, there was a volunteer that was bitten. I mean, we have a lot of, we're with dogs.
Right.
I mean, people do get bit. There was a dog that was euthanized. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about a dangerous dog. There's potentially, it's not confirmed, but potentially a claim against the city with that dog.
Good morning, Jean and Shannon. Right now, officers here at the Fitchburg Police Department are looking into accusations that animal control put down a dog after just 2 days and that the owner wasn't told until it was too late. Animal control officers say that that dog was vicious, but the owner says it was actually just a gentle member of her family.
What happened there with that dog? Can you explain?
I can only explain what I was witness to and what was told to me by my weekend manager and the animal control officer on duty that particular day. It was on Sunday. It was Easter. It was in the evening. He brought in a male intact dog that he had gotten from an apartment building that was being held on a balcony because the residents didn't know who the dog was and they were afraid. He approached the dog was vicious towards him, and he needed to use a catch pole, which is a long metal pole with a leash on the end of it where you can keep the animal at bay and not get attacked. He needed to bring the animal in on that pole. He placed the animal in a holding pen and requested that proceed with caution when handling it, extreme caution. The weekend manager felt very uncomfortable opening the kennel to even put in water, knowing that it came in at night and I'd be here in the morning. She opted just to leave the dog with bedding and toys and just perhaps let him calm down. Did not calm down the following day. I proceeded to move him into his long kennel run from the animal control holding area to a long kennel run, and in hindsight I should have asked for help, because he was all squirrely. He was, chasing up the leash. He was quite dangerous, but I've handled dangerous dogs, but he was pretty extreme. I got him in his kennel, and he immediately proceeded to try to get himself through, under, over the kennel to get at another dog. So I went around the back to remove the shelter dog, and I was able to get him leashed up and get him moved out. And in doing so, as we passed by this Capone dog, he was halfway under, pushed, bent, destroyed within seconds, up and under the kennel to get at Cobson, a shelter dog. And coming through the back door, of course, when you're in panic mode, the back door wouldn't open. So now I'm in a small corridor. I've got Capone 3/4 of the way out. I've got Cobson all the way out, terrified for his life, and I ended up getting injured. I got dragged to the ground. Cobson was dragging me out of harm's way or out of his way. Either way, he had me by the leg and he was dragging me. And then when I yelled for help, that's when I had two volunteers come in and control Capone, who was very difficult to control. Get Cobson to safety, and then I notified the animal control officer on duty that dog needed another place to be. That dog could not stay here because we couldn't contain him, and we were terrified of him. So either remove him, put him in another location, or issue an emergency order for a dangerous dog to be euthanized. I asked the question. I asked for help. Made phone calls to the state, give us help, There's plenty of resources out there for shelters that are in need with a dangerous dog, but nobody came. Nobody came. Animal control officer number 2 contacted the lead for the department, animal control officer, and others in the city, and I was led to believe that it was approved to make the appointment to euthanize the dog. I made the appointment. I did not drive the dog. I did not take the dog. I made the appointment. But I've now fallen on the sword for making the appointment.
Who took the dog?
Animal control. Had animal control, the department, listened to their voicemails, perhaps this might not have happened. Perhaps that dog that was dangerous in this environment, perhaps if we had gotten the voicemail that there was somebody looking for it, they could have come and got the dog out of here.
So it was somebody's dog then?
Correct. And there was voicemails left on Sunday.
Megan Moynihan says that she's had her 2-year-old Shepherd Pit Bull mix Capone since he was a puppy and that he's never tried to hurt anyone. But she says on Easter Sunday, he was a little bit mischievous. He ran out of the house without his collar on. So she says she went out looking for him and right away called animal control. She also claims, though, that she didn't hear back from them for another 2 days. That is the day, she says, an animal control officer showed up at her house and asked her to identify a dog that had been put down, a dog that she found out was Capone.
The lead animal control officer did not do the duty that department should have done. And that's dangerous dog, I'm not in, let's check the messages to see if anyone's missing that dog. Perhaps that dog is just mental outside of its own home.
Right.
That wasn't done. The shelter, city shelter, in harm's way with this dog.
Right.
Let me call in professionals to get up there immediately and help. Animal Rescue League, MSPCA, somebody with more experience containing an animal like that. That was not offered. That was not done. So there's definitely a serious breakdown in procedure and protocol as to what should have been done. And ultimately, somebody's dog passed away.
Now, Fitchburg police released a statement saying that they are aware of this incident that happened at the Fitchburg Kennel and are currently investigating the facts and circumstances surrounding the incident. Police records do show a dog matching Capone's description was taken to the Fitchburg Animal Shelter last Sunday. A record keeper who works for the shelter says the dog was vicious when it arrived. She also says animals are only put down if they're aggressive. Otherwise, the policy is to hold a dog for at least 7 days. At that point, they're put up for adoption, but they're not killed. She says only one dog has been euthanized this year, that dog being Capone.
And I know how much you love animals. It must break your heart.
Yeah. We don't get up every day to come to work to euthanize a dog. We come every day to save a dog, and we save some pretty crazy dogs. 95% of them we saved in 2013, and some of them were pretty crazy dogs.
Obviously a dangerous dog.
Yeah.
You asked for help. It seems like a lot of things broke down.
A lot of things broke down.
And now the shelter has suffered. The shelter's closed.
Correct.
Where did these animals go?
Well, we were getting the feeling that we were losing support from the city as a whole. We were getting the feeling because we were communicated with less. Animal control wasn't bringing animals here. The Department of Agriculture had a lot of really serious questions, leaning towards the entire thing was our fault here at the shelter and the actions we took. So we opted when we were informed that we could no longer take in any animals from animal control or owner surrenders or from the city or anywhere. It kind of gave us the warning that something serious was going to happen. So we took the opportunity and we placed as many of these dogs into other rescue groups as possible to keep them in. So we knew where they were going and to make sure that they were safe. There were 3 that were remaining when I got the final notice that the shelter was closed. So we were able to place 13 of them, and then there was 3 remaining that were here.
So what happened with those 3?
I was notified on June 25th about 5 o'clock by my direct supervisor to be in Human Resources for 9 a.m. on the 26th. So I kind of knew what was going to happen. So it was with a heavy heart that Bernie let me go. You know, nice letter explaining, you know, thanking for the services, blah, 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 blah. And then Animal Control was here by noon with her truck, with police, to pick up the 3 remaining dogs. And we worry about those 3 dogs because they were 3 dogs we were really hoping that we could find specialized rescue groups because they're a little bit more difficult.
Okay.
They were still in some serious training. Jody, we know where she is. She's at Worcester Animal Rescue League, and she's with a great group, and she's got great prospects to be adopted. Mary and Lady, we do not know where they are.
Oh.
We've asked repeatedly, where are they? Now that the shelter's been closed, days after the city approved my budget, my income, the leasing of the property income, the vetting expenses that were approved for the fiscal year, and the heating for the fiscal year, and the nice size revolving account that money like from slap shots went into, and other donations that went into, adoptions went into, that's being requisitioned by the police department. Now they want that money.
Okay.
But there's no clear directive from the Animal Control Department where our animals are actually going.
Well, that's what I was just going to ask. If this shelter's closed, where are these animals going to go?
She's been allowed to personally outsource to 2 locations that we know of so far. One is her personal boarding facility in another town in Leominster. And our volunteers that have dedicated their efforts here are not allowed to go there. And the other is a personal friend of hers on the other side of Fitchburg in Ashby and Townsend. She's an animal control officer that houses a great deal of animals out of her house. She doesn't have a kennel. So those are the 2 facilities we know of so far that she's been allowed to outsource privately, which
So what do they need the money for, I guess is what I'm asking.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why they need the money.
This seems like a long, ongoing, ugly situation,
There was
I
a
imagine.
city council meeting last night, and the volunteers and myself, we were able to express our distrust in the funds being transferred from here to the police department, especially the revolving account that was set up specifically to roll over year after year after year, so that residents could make charitable donations and it wouldn't go into the general funding of the city. It's set up for the animals by people who care. So I think we've raised enough awareness that that really should not be just turned over to the police department. When it goes to Finance Committee this coming Tuesday, it will also go into the legal department, because really that money should go to the Friends of Fitchburg Animal Shelter, where we've applied to the agricultural department to open up as a private shelter, is what we're trying to do.
Where would that be, though?
Here.
Okay.
It would be here, but it would be private. It wouldn't be run by the city. It would be run by the volunteers under a 501c3, which we already have as Friends of Fitchburg Animal Shelter. So now we fight the fight of where's Mary and where's Lady, and the money that we've raised, which since January 1st has been about $12,000. That's a lot of money.
Yes.
That's a lot of money given from $5 checks up to, hundreds and hundreds of dollars in checks. That's a lot of money that people gave knowing and thinking in their heart that it's going to the animals, not to the police department for animal control.
Yeah, I understand that. I would think I was going to ask, so where do you go from here? But you just answered that then.
Yeah. I've been in contact with Mike Cahill from the agricultural department to get the Fitchburg Animal Shelter license reinstated. We had a license, but animal control revoked that because there was dual license on the property, Fitchburg Animal Control, Fitchburg Animal Shelter.
Okay.
So animal control revoked the shelter license and kept it under animal control. So we're just asking to reinstate it under the 501c3 so that we can again do what we did before, which is 95 plus saving of, you know, these difficult dogs. Yeah.
If someone wants to get involved and help you get the Friends of the Fitchburg Animal Shelter up, and you know, is there a meeting that's coming up, or is there something that they can do to voice, yes, we want Amy to continue to take care of these animals?
We don't really have an organization going yet. We're waiting for Mike Cahill to process and do what he needs to do to verify the 501c3 status. We give him time to go over that, and then we hope that we don't need to go outside that. But if we do, we're going to make the announcement that we're going to need help. But we're allowing Mike Cahill the time to, you know, look over the 501c3, make sure it falls in guidelines, which we believe it does. And we hope that after July 4th, we'll be ready to be up and running.
It sounds like, to me, like things are gonna go your way. I feel positive.
They got to go the way for the animals. They got to, because we've done it right for the animals. We haven't done anything wrong other than, yes, we have taken some risks. I mean,
it comes with the territory, though, and what you're doing here. Yes.
And it's what we believe in. It's what's made us successful. It's why you're here. It's why Slapshot's helped us, because of these guys. Because we do take the risk for them, and we do understand them, and we will continue to fight for them, like Mary's, like Ladies, and all the rest of them. You know, they're worth it. They're worth it.
So it's not about Amy or animal control or the Fitchburg Police Department. It's about the animals. So as the blame gets tossed around as to why Capone fell through the cracks and the system failed him, one thing is for sure: we need to save these dogs. I know that Amy Egeland has dedicated her life to caring for dogs both big and small. The city of Fitchburg needs to find a way to appropriately utilize the funds raised to help these dogs be rehabilitated and relocated into loving homes. That is certainly not too much to ask. I'm Patty Stalker. Thanks for watching 30 Minutes. This is Nellie, and she's a pit bull, and she was going to be euthanized, and Amy rescued her. She's up for adoption. She's a beauty. She's a beauty.